Okay, so we are going to start new topic. Now, as you can see in the picture, we have one fractured tooth. Do you feel we should save this tooth? Right. So what options we have to save the tooth? Post and core. Post and core, that is what we are going to learn. Basically, the crown portion here is completely destroyed, right? And now we want to treat that tooth. And for treating such cases, we have a very good option which is available, and that option is your post and core, right? So this is our today's topic of discussion: restoration of endodontically treated tooth. So let us start. Now, endodontically treated tooth usually has lost considerable amount of tooth structure, and you know what is the reason. Because when you, I hope everybody did the root canal treatment, right? So you have to remove the vital tooth structure which is having some pathological condition, which is necrosed sometime. So while doing that, you are hollowing the tooth from the center, from the middle. So the strength is going to reduce, right? So the tooth strength is compromised with your RC treated tooth. Not every tooth is indicated for post and core or for crown, but there are maximum number of cases where you have to go with your crowns and post and core. Now, why these tooth are basically destructed? Why we have to do the endo treatment? Because there is a carious lesion which is destroying your tooth structure. Then we have to excavate that caries. Sometimes you have to dig deep and you land up into the pulp chamber. In that case, you have to go with the root canal treatment or endodontic therapy. So because of that reason, the tooth gets weaker and previous restoration. Now sometimes there are teeth which doesn't have root canal treatment done, but there is a big restoration which is having some marginal leakage. Not at the beginning, but in long run, there might be a marginal leakage. Because of that marginal leakage, there could be your pathology related with your pulp, and then you have to replace that restoration. So for replacement of that restoration, you have to replace the restoration along with some healthy tooth structure, so that you should avoid all the inactive caries which is present in the on the tooth. And also you have to do the endo treatment. So because of all this procedure, your tooth gets weaker, and we have to protect that tooth. That is why post and core. So what is this post and core basically means by? Post and core is a kind of restoration. It is a kind of restoration just like your inlays, onlays, full veneer crown, partial veneer crown. It is a kind of restoration which consists of, now it is having uh, two parts. One is your post that fits in a prepared root canal. Now as you can see, you cannot see, right? Now as you can see, this portion is called as post, right? This post that fits into the root canal. So this is the root canal where you are drilling the tooth structures. We will come on that also. So now this, on the top of this post we have a core, right? So this portion is called as your core, and this portion is called as your post. And combined is doing and what this core is doing. So first we will see what the post is doing. It provides retention for the core. Core is on the top portion. As you can see in the picture, it is on the top portion, right? So it is giving retention to the core. like for our crown, PFM crowns we are giving, right? Our abutment is providing retention for that crown. So this post is giving retention to the core, which is like your crown, prepared crown, right? What is the function of core? Core provides retention to the extracoronal restoration, and that extracoronal restoration is nothing but your complete veneer crown, full veneer crown. It could be all ceramic crown, it could be PFM crown, or it could be your metal crown, but it should be full veneered crown. Here there is no role of partial veneer crowns, right? So the function of post is to provide retention for the core. The function of core is to provide the retention for the extracoronal retention, restoration. And the function of this extracoronal restoration, that is your crown, it could be all ceramic or metal, whatever. The function of this restoration is to protect the crown and the root structure, because it is going to protect, it is covering all the tooth structure, so it will protect. It prevents the micro leakage because it is covering, so there will no micro leakage at all. And evenly it is going to distribute the occlusal forces so that the fracture of the tooth or the root will be avoided. So these are the functions of your post and core and your restoration. This is understood? So let us move ahead. Now, does post and core provide extra retention? Are we supposed to do post and core for each and every endo-treated tooth? No, the answer is no. We should not go with post and core for each and every tooth. There are certain criteria, there are certain rules, or there are certain situations. There only you are supposed to choose this treatment option. Now, one thing you have to remember, RC treated tooth do not always need post and core. This thing you have to remember in your mind, right? Because sometimes you have to go with the intentional root canal treatment. Do you know the meaning of intentional root canal treatment? Okay, if the tooth is supra-erupted, consequences of tooth loss everybody knows? Consequences of tooth loss. When the tooth is lost, what are the bad effect in long run, maybe after 3 months, 4 months, 1 year? What are the effect because of the tooth loss? If my mandibular molar is lost, what will happen? There will be supra-eruption, very good, and tilting of the adjacent tooth, and there will be other problems that will be triggered or that will be initiated because of this tilting, tipping, or migration of the tooth. There will be open contact, the occlusal plane will be disturbed because of this supra-eruption. Now, if you want to replace this tooth after 2-3 years, already there is a supra-eruption of maxillary molar. Agreed with me? Fine. So, will you be able to restore the occlusion with mandibular plane with that supra-erupted molar? No. If it is more than 2 millimeters, if it is up to 2 millimeters, you can do enameloplasty. Enameloplasty is trimming some enamel to adjust the occlusal plane. That is enameloplasty. Okay. Enameloplasty you are doing to remove the undercut with your RPD surveying. When you do the surveying, if there are undercuts which are very little, you can do enameloplasty to remove that undercut in the guide plane. Okay. So forget about RPD now. Again, coming back to FPD. So to adjust that occlusal plane, you can do enameloplasty. That is one option, but it is having certain limit. You cannot trim the tooth more than 2 millimeters. If you do that, patient will have sensitivity. Agreed? Because the thickness of enamel is not more than 2 millimeters. So you have to think about some different option, and that different option is chopping off that more than 2 millimeter surface and adjusting or rebuilding the occlusal table of maxillary tooth. That will restore the maxillary occlusal plane. Okay, but when you do that, you might create problem for your patient. Your patient might have sensitivity. He will develop pulpitis, inflammation of pulp, right? To avoid this, we have to do root canal treatment. There is no caries, there is no other problem, or there is no inflammation of the pulp. but still we are doing root canal treatment just to adjust the occlusal plane. This is called as intentional root canal treatment. Understood now? Without any reason, not any reason actually, without any pathological reason, when you do some endodontic treatment or root canal treatment, that is called as intentional root canal treatment. Okay, so you do the root canal treatment, and when you do the root canal treatment, as there is no caries present with the tooth, you don't have to do the access opening, big access opening. You can have a very small access opening, and then you can go into the canal, remove the pulp, put your gutta percha and give the crown. That's it. There is no need of putting the your post and core and all, because already your pulp chamber is, I mean, the access opening is very small. So in that cases you don't need your root canal treatment. Okay, if you have a caries occlusal caries only on the occlusal surface and it is going deep, simply it is going deep, and you, when you remove the caries portion, you come to know that the carious lesion is not that big, but still it is entered into the pulp chamber and you have to remove the pulp, right? So in that scenario again your access opening will be small, right? So access opening depends upon the how much amount of caries extension is there with the tooth surface. Depending upon that you do your access opening. Access opening you can do with you for your visual proper visualization of also, right? So the moral of the story is that not every endo-treated tooth needs your post and core. There are certain situations only where you have to go with the post and core, and studies have shown that RC treated tooth are weaker and brittle than your vital tooth. That everybody knows, right? But that doesn't mean every tooth should go for crown or your endo treatment or your post and core. Hence, whenever you want to select this treatment option, that is your post and core, you have to select that option very wisely. There are certain criteria how to select that tooth as for your post and core. We will see that criteria. So first of all, your tooth, whatever tooth you are selected for post and core, it should have a very good periapical seal, right? So whenever you are going for post and core, make sure your tooth should have a good periapical seal. No sensitivity on pressure. When your patient is biting, he should not complain, or whenever you tap the tooth, or when you are checking the mobility of the tooth, sometimes you put your probe. If because of that pressure, if your patient is having sensitivity, that means periapically there is something wrong going on. So that tooth is not suitable for your post and core. Number 3, there should be no fistula at all, because fistula means there is infection and we don't want infection. No apical sensitivity, as I said in the second point. So there should be no periapical sensitivity. No active inflammation, because if there is active inflammation, there are microorganisms present which will create problem in future for our post and core. Inadequate obturation must be retreated. If you come to know that the obturation is good but it is short, or it is not properly condensed, right? You see the periapical x-ray to evaluate your obturation, right? So if you see the obturation quality is not good or it is short, it is better to do the RCT and then proceed with your post and core, right? Then that tooth is suitable candidate for your post and core. Otherwise that tooth is not suitable for post and core. And number 7, which is the most important criteria for selection, is your ferrule effect. Now we will see what is this ferrule effect means by. This is the most important criteria, right? One thing I would like to stress, if you see there is a 4 millimeter periapical seal which is mentioned in the diagram, right? 4 millimeter of periapical seal must be intact, because there are many articles which are published in journal which says that if you have a periapical seal less than 4 millimeter, your tooth durability or the prognosis of that tooth reduces. So 4 millimeter is must. So whatever length of the post, Now can you see the length of the post, which is written 2/3 the post length. The length of this post should be selected in such a way that at least 4 millimeter of periapical seal of gutta percha should remain in the oral cavity, and rest other length you can utilize for your length of the post, right? This criteria is very important for us. Understood? Fine. Any doubts up till now? Can we move ahead? Now, what is this ferrule effect, which is very important for us? Ferrule effect by definition is a 360-degree collar of the crown surrounding the parallel wall of the dentine, extending coronal to the shoulder of the preparation, right? It is a 360-degree collar. Now as you can see in that picture, now as you can see in this picture, this is a collar tooth structure which is present above the shoulder. Now this is your shoulder. This normal tooth structure which is present 360-degree all around the tooth surface, that is called as your ferrule effect. If you don't have ferrule effect, your treatment cannot be complete, right? There will be fracture. Now if you observe this diagram, you will come to know that in this tooth there is no ferrule effect. If you observe this portion, there is no ferrule effect, and when you have a occlusal forces acted on this tooth, because there is a no ferrule effect, the root might be fractured in future. And with this tooth, if you have a ferrule effect, there will be even distribution of forces and the chances of root fracture can be minimized. I am not saying it will be avoided completely, will be minimized if you have a ferrule effect, right? It is not me who is saying that. There are n number of studies which are published which has proven that if you have a ferrule effect, you can have maximum durability of your post and core. Okay? Now this ferrule effect, at least 2 millimeter of sound tooth structure should be present. This tooth structure I am talking about, this metal, this collar I am talking about, 360-degree collar, at least it should be 2 millimeter all around. Then only that tooth will be selected or should be selected for. Now as you can see in this diagram, this is a tooth structure which is present above this cervical area, and this is present all around, buccally, palatally, mesially, distally, everywhere it is present, 360-degree all around, right? And it should be at least 2 millimeter. If it is less than 2 millimeter, then you have to think of achieving the ferrule effect, because there are different methods to achieve the ferrule effect. Can anybody tell me, if I don't have this 2 millimeter, what can I do? The answer is in front of you. Did you understand my question? My question is, as I said, there should be 2 millimeter of ferrule effect. Ferrule effect everybody understood? Right, 360-degree tooth structure present all around the tooth. And it should be at least 2 millimeter in the height. If this height is compromised means if it is less than 2 millimeter, for example, buccally, if it is 1 millimeter only, should I select this tooth for post and core treatment? No. I have to get ferrule effect, that is for sure. So how I can get ferrule effect? How I can increase that 1 millimeter from 1 to 2 millimeter? Yes, Bandar. Huh? Loss of? Come again, please. I didn't understand. Go subgin, that's what you are telling. Go subgingivally. Yeah, we can go subgingivally also. There is another option. We have two options actually, right? Any guess? Subgingivally is correct actually. And what you can see in that diagram, they are doing some periodontal treatment because the gingiva is exposed, right? So by doing that, you can expose 1 millimeter more on the buccal side to get the ferrule effect, right? Usually for doing this, we do the crown lengthening procedure. You are aware about crown lengthening procedure? Right. That is called as CLP, crown lengthening procedure. So usually you go with the crown lengthening procedure. Fine. That is the commonest method used to gain the ferrule effect if it is absent. But there are criteria for doing crown lengthening procedures. That criteria you will learn in perio. Fine. Second method is orthodontic extrusion of the tooth. Extrusion you know, and intrusion you know, right? So you can do orthodontic extrusion. 1 millimeter extrusion anybody can do. Fine. So these are the two methods by which you can regain your ferrule effect. And if you have a ferrule effect of 2 millimeter all around, then your prognosis of the tooth or the durability of your post and core will increase definitely. Clear? Yes. Already 1 millimeter of ferrule effect buccally was there, and you do 1 millimeter extrusion of the teeth. So all other area you will get 3 millimeter, and the area which was compromised, buccally it was compromised, it will get 2 millimeter, and then you can proceed with your post and core, right? Do we have ferrule effect here? No, there is no ferrule effect. So these are not a good candidate for your post and core, and you should go for extraction. Okay, so this is the meaning of ferrule effect. I hope everybody is clear with the ferrule effect. 2 millimeter of ferrule effect is important. Now coming to the important part of this lecture, post and core can be classified into different ways. What are they? Let us see. According to the material used, whatever material we are using for that post and core. Post we have seen which is going into the canal, core which was on the top of the post, right? So what material we used? According to the material, it is metal and non-metal. Either you can use metal post or you can use fiber post. Fiber is non-metal. Okay, this is one classification. There are many classifications. Second classification we have depending upon the design, what type of design we have. One is your tapered. Now you know tapered burr, yes, right? So same like your tapered burr, we have a tapered design, and second we have a parallel sided design. Parallel sided means there is no tapering, it's parallel to each other, right? So this classification depends upon the design, tapered one, parallel one. Then we have design classification depend upon the retention. We have two. One is your active and one is your passive. One is your active and one is your passive. Passive means it's simply sitting in the canal and moving here and there. That is passive, right? Active means it is tightly seated in the canal. When you drill a screw, into the wall, that is active. Okay, and when you prepare a hole and simply place a screw and remove the screw, place a screw and remove the screw, that is your passive mechanism. Understood? Same principle we are using for our post and core. There are advantages and disadvantages with everything. With passive there are advantages and disadvantages. With active there are advantages and disadvantages that we are going to see. Then we have method of fabrication. Depending upon the method of fabrication, the post and core is divided into casted post, that means we will fabricate the post, and second subtype is your prefabricated post. That means the post, they are available in the market in different sizes. Now impression, everybody has taken impression, everybody knows impression. So we have different impression trays available. Am I right? So whatever impression, whatever arch your patient is having, depending upon the size, you select the impression tray. Medium size, large size, extra large size. Am I right? And that is called as prefabricated tray. So here also we have a prefabricated post which are available in different diameter, different thickness and different length. So depending upon the length of your canal, you can select the post. You can select metal post also, you can select non-metal post also, you can select tapered post also, you can select parallel post also, you can select passive post also, you can select active post also, right? Then we have casted post. Now when you take impression, final impression for your complete denture patient, what you are doing? You are fabricating a custom tray. Am I right? You first take the primary impression, you pour the cast, and on that cast you prepare a custom tray which is only compatible with that particular patient, because you want 100% accuracy, or you have to record all the tissue details which are present in the oral cavity. That's why we need a custom tray. Understood? Similarly, we fabricate a post which is compatible for that tooth, for that canal, for that patient only. So this is the difference between custom post and prefabricated post. So this classification is clear. We will see in depth everything. So according to the material, first is your metallic post. Now, as you can see, metallic post, they are further classified as threaded post, para post, smooth post, serrated post. I am not going to focus on this design, because if I try to focus on this design, you will forget other things. I don't want that. We want to concentrate on the basic idea. This you can by heart by yourself, right? Now, these are the different designs that you can see on the screen, right? So this is your threaded post, para post. These are your para post with serrations and all. Then we have non-metallic post. Now on this side, you can see your non-metallic post. These are made up of fiber, carbon fibers. Sometimes they are made up of ceramic also. So this is your carbon fiber post. Carbon fiber, everybody knows? Yeah, which is very strong and very light material. And they are nowadays using everywhere, even in automobile industry, which has revolutionized the concept because of this. Yes, go ahead. Huh? Same effect. Yeah, it will work same like there are advantages, pros and cons with all the varieties. With metal, there are some advantages, some disadvantages. With non-metal, there are some advantages and disadvantages. So it depends on your convenience, availability, costing factor. Many things are included for selection of which type of material you want to use. Understood? Because in our clinic, we have prefabricated metal post also. We have prefabricated fiber post, that is your non-metal post also. So depending upon the condition, we have to select. Okay, go ahead. No, 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 no. The company will manufacture. We will just select the post, and then we can cut if we wish. But cutting fiber post is little, carbon fiber post is little tough. You need to have different type of burrs to cut that. Okay. It's available in market in different diameters and different length. Whatever is the length, like gatta parcha points, GP points you are using, they are available in different diameters, different length, and depending upon the canal depth, length, diameter, you select master cone and accessory cone and all, right? Here we are only using master cone, that is our post. Okay, clear? Fine. Now metallic post, disadvantage with metallic post is aesthetic. As this is metal, so color of the metal will reflect outside. So if you are giving all ceramic, if you are placing a metal post with maxillary anterior tooth, and if you are giving all ceramic crown, the color of that metal will be reflected outside. Okay, it's not that visible, actually it is not that visible. But if you take an intraoral photograph with proper pixels, and if you enlarge that big image, and put it on a big poster, right, you will come to know that there is some kind of blackish discoloration because of that metal. So that is disadvantage with your metal post. Fine. This disadvantage is not present with your fiber post. So that is advantage for our fiber post. Understood? Now coming to the non-metal fiber post, easy to retrieve. If something goes wrong, Now today I have one case where the patient didn't follow the instruction, he bite something hard and the fiber post was fractured. And today we are going to retrieve the post, right? But as that post is fractured from the middle portion, I don't think we will be able to retrieve, but we will try to save the tooth. If we get success, the tooth can be preserved. If not, then we will go for extraction, right? But if it metal post which is fractured inside, then I will 100% go for extraction. I will not tell patient that we can save the tooth. We will directly tell that no, we cannot save the tooth, you have to go for extraction.
Why not placing metallic?
Why not placing metallic?
Carbon fiber, which was fractured due to eating and hot food.
See, everything has got limit, right? When you put the post, that doesn't mean that your tooth will get extra strength. It's not like that you are putting some adrenaline and the tooth will get strength. It's not like that. We are just extending the life of the tooth. That's it, right? After putting the crown, when you put the ceramic crown, now ceramic is harder material, just like your enamel. That doesn't mean that you will ask your patient, you can bite anything, whatever you want. We will ask him, don't bite hard. Now implants,
Yes.
which are made up of titanium, which are supported by the ceramic. On the top there is a ceramic. Now titanium is very strong material, but still if you put an implant, single tooth implant, or all the tooth which are placed by implant, still you will instruct your patient, there are certain limitations. So every material we have is having certain limitation and the care has to be taken. Understood? Now there are some phones which says that they are waterproof. They have some waterproof property. That doesn't mean that every day you have to keep it in water. If you do that, something will go wrong. Okay, there are certain limitations. It is like that. We are just extending the life of the tooth, okay, and restoring the function, aesthetic and masticatory efficiency up to certain limit. Understood? Fine. So fiber post, they are easy to retrieve if something goes wrong, if your crowns get distorted or if there is some problem with the post, you can easily retrieve the non-metallic post, which is not possible with your metal post. Ceramic post, they are difficult to retrieve because ceramic is very hard material to trim. So we cannot trim ceramic which is there inside. Today what I will be doing is the fiber post which is fractured inside. With the help of the access preparation round burr, I am going to drill into the fiber only. So that fiber I will remove. But if it is ceramic post, I cannot do that. If it is metal post, I cannot trim metal inside because the amount of heat generation which is going to have in the canal is so tremendous that there will be other complications. And I don't want to do that. So I will better go for extraction. Copy?
But the fiber is okay to go for the fiber.
We can trim fiber. You can try sometime. I mean, you will try now in your phantom lab. When we will be doing prefabricated post, we will be using fiber post. So you will come to know that it's easy to trim with your diamond burrs.
Can you use magnets to retrieve the metal?
No, it's not possible. We don't have that amount of strong magnets because this post we are using some luting cement to cement the post inside. And when you want to retrieve the post, what we are doing is preferably we take our scaler and we put that scaler in between the tooth and your post, and we are just removing the luting cement up to 2-3 millimeters inside. That's it. The rest will come out. That is our idea behind retrieving the post. But if it fractures from the middle, it's not possible. If you put magnet also, it's a good idea, but magnet, you need to have very powerful magnet. Do we have that magnet? No, but you can try. So fiber post can be separated into 3 groups. One, we have carbon fiber, glass fiber and your quartz fiber. There are different contents. Depending on that contents, they have categorized this fiber post into 3 different categories. Then we have zirconia post, zirconia crown. Everybody knows? No, nobody knows because we didn't cover all ceramic. Zirconia is sort of your all ceramic material, right? So there are zirconia post also. Just for today, you remember zirconia because the week after we will be learning about all ceramic. That time I will let you. Now coming to the design, as I said, we have a tapered. Now as you can see the shape of this post. Now this is your fiber post which is non-metal, and this is your metal post, right? See the shape, it is tapered. Understood? So these are tapered post. Now these tapered post can be subdivided into smooth surface. Now see the surface, it is smooth, there is no serration. Serrated, that means there are some serrations. If I put some serrations, that will be serrated. And threaded post. Now you can see this is threaded post. Then we have para post or parallel post. Now see the post, it is having parallel wall. Again that parallel wall post are subcategorized into smooth surface without any serrations and all, serrated or threaded. Understood? Right. Now coming to the retention, passive and active. Active means this is your active post, just like your screw mechanism that you drill into the wall. And passive means they are simply sitting. You are using your luting cement to have proper retention of that post into the canal. The moment you remove that luting cement, the post will come out. Understood? Now passive post, they are cemented, active post, they are threaded. There are disadvantages with your threaded post. Now as you can see here, these are threaded post which acts excessive forces laterally on the walls in the canal, and because of that in future, in long run, the tooth might fracture. There will be root fracture. If there is a root fracture, are we in a position to save? No, then we have to extract. So are these screw posts are good? No, these screw posts are having lot of disadvantages, and that is the reason many dentists, they don't advise screw post. That doesn't mean metal posts are bad. Metal posts are also there. We are using metal post, but we are not using screw post because reason you know, chances of root fracture is more. Casted post, as I said, we can fabricate by ourselves, and prefabricated post which are available in the market, that could be metal, non-metal. Now basically casted post, they are fabricated by two methods. One is your direct method, second is your indirect method or indirect technique. This is same like your provisional crown, right? We have studied provisional crowns. We fabricate direct technique usually in the clinics. Directly we can fabricate the provisional crown in the oral cavity, but there are pros and cons for that direct technique. And then we have another method called as indirect technique, where you are fabricating the provisional crown outside the oral cavity. Okay, so that is indirect technique. And there is third technique, but in our casted post we have only two techniques. One is your direct method, indirect method. Okay, direct method simply means that you are directly fabricating the post in the oral cavity of the patient. And indirect technique means you will take the impression of the canal along with the tooth structure, along with the other tooth structures which are present in the oral cavity, and you will pour the cast and you will get the model, and on that you will fabricate a wax pattern, you will cast it, and then you will cement in the oral cavity. Understood? So today we will just concentrate on prefabricated post. Next lecture we will concentrate on the casted post. So classification is clear with everyone?
Yes.
Fine. What is post and core is clear with everyone? Ferrule effect is clear with everyone? Right. So these are the main things which are very important. If you know these few things, it will be very easy for you to understand post and core. Fabricated post, it can be metal, non-metal, that is right. Now there are different companies which provides metal post also and non-metal post also. Some companies, they just manufacture post in different sizes and they will give it to the customers, that is us dentists. Some companies along with the post they will fabricate the drills, right? So these are your drills, these are your drills which are available with the post system. It depends on the company or it depends on the type of the post which you are using, right? So these are the different deals. Have you visited any dental expo, dental material exhibition is there, have you visited? Okay, we are in COVID, and in first year, second year, you never had exposure. Okay, anyways, but when the things will normal and when you visit some conferences, you will come to know that in every conference there are some stalls of materials, of instruments who are promoting their materials. You can see in that exhibition they are promoting their drills, their materials. They are marketing like, see, we are providing this post, along with the post you don't have to take your piezo reamer or get skid and drill, we have our separate drills, take this offer, like that. Okay, so this type of systems are there. This system is available in our college. There are metal posts, as you can see at the bottom. These posts are having different diameters and different length. Depending upon the length and the diameter, there are drills along with this post which are color coded, right? We will not go in depth of this color coding because every company is using different color codes, so we will not confuse ourselves. So advantage, very simple, right? So let these are the armamentariums which are required. Periapical X-ray is must. Criteria to select the case, already we have seen 7 criteria. You have to measure the length, and then with the help of there is a sequence: get hidden drill, piezo reamer, get hidden drill number 1, number 2, number 3, piezo number 1, 2, 3. There is a sequence of that. So periapical seal, 4 millimeter of periapical seal is intact, as you have seen. Then you have to check the length of the post, confirm the length on the block, on the measuring block. Then this is the luting cement. So it's a resin based cement. The resin, it bonds with the dentin and it bonds with your post also. So the bond is very strong. So once you mix the resin cement, you have to put the resin cement into the canal with the help of your Lentro spiral, and then you put the post, and it is dual cure. That means it can be cured by chemically and with your light also. So once it is properly cured, then the remaining tooth structure, the ferrule effect what we have seen. Now we are doing etching of that so that we can build the core, right? Which is going to give a retention to our extracoronal restoration, that is our crown. And to this core, the post is giving retention. This is the core build-up material, which is same like your composite, but it is stronger than your composite. Usually they use for posterior restoration. So with the core build-up material, you build the core, and the shape of the core is same like your crown preparation. Once you are done with the core build-up, then with the help of your diamond burr, you have to trim or you have to shape the core same like your crown preparation. Now this is low speed hand piece. You must have seen he has cut the fiber post with a low speed hand piece. It's easy to cut. So once your core build-up is done, then you have to do the crown preparation. Prepare the finish line properly, preferably it should be supra-gingival or equigingival. You can go with subgingival also if there is a requirement of that. Now he is doing the crown preparation, and then you can take impression, send the impression to the lab, and lab will fabricate a crown for that. Okay. It's easy.
So how can you know
How can I know the Ferrul effect? How can I know the Ferrul effect? No, this was just a preclinical demonstration. There was no question of Ferrul effect, right? Ferrul effect you have to check in the oral cavity. Understood? You must have seen the first slide. First slide, you have seen the first slide. I asked, so drill, there are different luting cements. Now these luting cements you can use for metal post also, non-metal post also, prefabricated post also, casted post also. What type of luting cement we have? We have a zinc phosphate cement, glass ionomer cement, modified resin modified glass ionomer cement, and resin cement, right? So depending upon the availability, depending upon the preference, you can choose anything. In our institution we have resin modified GIC, we have resin cement, and we have GIC also, but usually we don't cement our post with your GIC, because you know that GIC dissolves with the saliva in long run, and if it dissolves with the saliva in long run, there will be loss of retention, right? We don't want that, so we are not preferably using GIC or zinc phosphate. We use resin modified GIC or resin, preferably resin. Clear? So these are the indications and contraindications, and we are done with today's part 1 lecture. Today we have covered what is the meaning of post and core, what exactly the post is doing, what exactly the core is doing, how many millimeter of periapical seal is important, which is 4 millimeter, what should be the length of the post. Then we have seen what is Ferrul effect, what are the different criteria to select the tooth for your post and core. We have seen 7 criteria, and then we have seen the different classification for post and core, like metal post, non-metal post, depending upon the design, depending upon the method of fabrication, depending upon the retention, active and passive. Clear? Fine. Now do you have any doubts? I will jump on his question now.